Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me today for another live Q&A. I appreciate your time being here. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you that are just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you some techniques that I use every day in my own voiceover business, and I answer your questions in these weekly Q&A sessions. So if you have any questions, if you're just getting started out in voiceover and or audiobook narration and have some questions, and I know there's a lot to this industry and getting started. So if you have questions, please type them in the chat and I will get to them within this hour. Sometimes we're here longer, so we'll just see how it goes. But if you have been here before, then you know that we do polls here every week. I have a new poll, and this week's poll is, what is your why? And what do I mean by that? Your why is your reason for doing this. It is your purpose. It is your goal. It is what wakes you up in the morning and gets you down into the studio. What is it that gets you going every day? What is it that makes you strive to do more, to get this off the ground and to get going? And your why is what's going to be the most important thing in keeping this going. So it's important. I'll be quiet now and go over to the poll responses. First and foremost, Louie, thank you so much for the chat. It looks like I'm buffering or something on the screen. I'm not sure what that's about, but sorry for the internet connection. I'm not sure what is happening. But Louie, thank you so much for the super chat. The super chat. Oh my God. We're off to a great start. All right. So today's poll is, what is your why? And so far we have 15 votes. And the responses or the options are more time with your family, to be your own boss, lifelong dream of voiceover. If you've always wanted to do this, that would be that response. And all of the above, a combination of all of the other responses. And I think for me, my why is mainly more time with family. My main purpose for starting this was to start something that I enjoyed doing, because first and foremost, I'm an avid book nerd, right? I love reading books. I always have. I love books. And then I discovered audiobook narration. Somebody's got to narrate the audiobooks, right? So I said, okay, well, if I can do that and be paid for it, because I'm doing it anyway, and I get to learn all of these new things and enjoy all of these new stories, and at the same time be my own boss and make my own schedule and spend more time with my family, namely spend more time with my young son, then that would be an absolute dream. So that's what I set out to do. And that why, when times get hard, when your schedule is just super filled with other things to do and you don't have a lot of time to dedicate to the studio, when you're giving up some sleep, when you're giving up some Saturdays, when you're giving up some time to help with homework, whatever it is, to tuck the kiddo into bed, those sacrifices that you make are going to be what your why. Let me just back up. Your why is what's going to push you through. So the why is very important to determine in the beginning, because your why, again, is what's going to keep you going, to keep your business afloat, and to keep you motivated to keep going. So establishing that why, a solid why, write it down, write it in your journal, on your agenda book, on your whiteboard, whatever it is that you have in your office or your studio. Make sure it's in front of your face, because that is your goal. Okay. So far we have 17 votes. I I reined myself in from that tangent. 17 votes so far, and 12% of you said more time with your family. 24% of you said be your own boss. 18% of you said lifelong dream of voiceover. And 44% of you said all of the above. I kind of figured that's what it would be because it's a wonderful thing to be your own boss, of course. So that's interesting. I thought more of you would have said more time with your family. Shows you what I know, right? That's fabulous. Okay, so let's go over to the comments and see what questions we have today. Oh my goodness, there's so many of you here. Thank you so much for your time. The very first one I had this morning was from AJ Ross. And AJ says, please give me a suggestion for a computer, Mac or PC. Thanks, love your stuff. Well, thank you for watching my stuff. I appreciate you. A computer could really be, let me just think about this for a second. I think the main thing that you want to look for in a computer to do voiceover is that you want to try to find one that's got a decent amount of RAM, because you're going to be running multiple applications. And in my case, I wanted to build a computer that was going to sort of future-proof myself. Because if you take a look at some of the equipment that you must need for doing voiceover and audiobook narration, at some point you're going to want to upgrade from the USB mic. So the computer should have USB ports, right? And some of the interfaces, once you upgrade to an XLR mic that requires an interface, the interface is what converts the signal from the microphone into a language your computer can understand, essentially. And the interface I/O, the plug, the connections from your interface to your computer, a lot of those interface manufacturers are going towards USB-C as a connection, or for Mac, there's Thunderbolt, right? So you want to make sure the computer has one of those connections as well to future-proof yourself for when you need an interface. But I would say mainly make sure that the connections that your computer has are going to fit your purposes and needs going forward, connection-wise, and that you have a decent amount of RAM. I would say you could probably get by with 8 gigs of RAM. I did in the very beginning, but then I soon discovered that as I started to grow and to get into more video production and things of that nature, and multitasking between different apps and bits of software, it puts a little bit of a load on your computer. So having a large amount of RAM, at least I would say at least 16, would be good. And then also you want to consider noise. Most of the computers, and I know that there's been a huge there's been a few mentions of computers that are fanless that don't make noise, but computers most often have elements that make noise, fans, right? If you can move the computer outside of your studio or get it away from your microphone, that's not a big issue. So having fans is not a big deal if you can move it away. But I would say gigs, RAM would be important, and the connections would be important. And I'm going off on what is my problem with tangents today? I hope that answers your question. But I can't tell you specifically which kind because there's way too many variables. Or you can always build your own. I did. Build it to suit your needs. Next comment is, I'm your next level. I like that. Hi, Angela. I just want to know to get orders on Fiverr. Getting orders on Fiverr is, or any platform for that matter, when you're first getting started, is difficult because nobody knows who you are. What you need is that social proof. You need ratings and reviews. Consumers need to know that someone else went before them and can justify using your services. They were satisfied, everything went well. It's the same thing if you think about shopping on Amazon, right? You see 2 exactly the same items, same price, same picture, same purpose, same manufacturer, same everything, except one has a 5-star review and the other one has 0 reviews. Which one are you going to purchase? It's the same thing with the gig economy, or even on any of the platforms that you're on. Most of them have the ability for the client to rate you. or to give you a thumbs up or something like that. Getting that social proof in the very beginning is what you want to focus on. And it's difficult. But if you go to, namely on Fiverr, there are buyer's requests that you can go to. Those are buyers looking for people to help them with a specific job or task. So if you go to the buyer's requests and start submitting some offers on those, you have 10 of those that you could submit every day. Unless you're top rated, then you have, I think, 20 or 30. But as a new seller, you have 10 of those to submit every day. I would say get in there and submit 10 of those every day. Because not only are you bidding on a job, but you're also sort of marketing or introducing yourself to this client. So there might not be a need for your voice for them right now, but there could be one for a use for your voice in the future for them. So submitting 10 of those every day will definitely help. And then also promoting your gigs off the platform, meaning you can share your gigs on social media, you can share them on your website, you can share them anywhere. They make it really easy to do that on Fiverr. And that outside traffic coming into your gig will definitely help to promote your gigs in the algorithm, I think, personal opinion. If there's traffic going to your gigs, that tells the algorithm that what you're doing is needed, right, and desired. So they tend to promote you more or put you closer to page one, right? They'll start to promote you a little bit more, which is a good thing. And again, these are all personal opinions from my own personal experience. You may experience something different, but this is just kind of my take on Fiverr and platforms in general. But it's tough in the beginning. It is. Sally is here. Good morning, Sally. Good morning from Pensacola, Florida. Is it hot and humid there still? I'm sure it is. Andy B says, 3 questions. Did you review the Lewitt mic? I did. I have a video here on my channel last week. Yeah, last Tuesday, a week ago today, it premiered on my channel against the Sennheiser 416. If you did, I missed it. I gave a bunch of plugins I enabled, and it looks like they are activated, but do they show up under processing? So if you put in a bunch of plugins and if your DAW recognizes them, for Adobe Audition, they are under the VST or VST3 in your rack. So I think I can actually share my screen, but I would need a file to actually show that. Let me work on that a second. All right, so let me just pull up a random file really quick. Let me see. Let's just pull up. Let's just pull up this one. Okay, so let me share my screen. Oops, I think I just hit the wrong button. Okay, so let's share screen, window, Adobe Audition, share. Okay, so you guys should be able to see. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see. No, let's get my face out of the way. And then let's get this question off the screen. Okay, cool. All right, so if you go to your rack and you select one of these, your plugins will be under VST or VST3 under either Effect or Restoration, depending on the type of plugin that you're using. So that's typically where they will be for Adobe Audition anyway. Some DAWs will be a little bit different, but that's Adobe Audition. I hope that answers that question. After Dark is here. Good morning from Bakersfield, California, I assume. Good morning, good morning. Valcat is here. Hello, darling. Good morning from wine country, Temecula, California. All of my Californians here. I am born and bred in California, but don't live there anymore. I miss it. I miss the water. I know I'm going to butcher your name, so I apologize in advance. Is it Jurston? Kirsten? Jurston? Peters? God, please don't hate me. Hi, Angela. Thank you so much for all the info you provide. It is so helpful to a newbie in the business. Well, thank you for watching. I really appreciate that. And again, I just try to pay it forward, right? With all of the information that I gleaned from so many YouTubers and so many Facebook groups and learning on my own, I felt I wanted to be the person that I needed in the very beginning, right? That had all of the information. So I didn't have to hunt around and go to several different places. I could go to one place and just have my questions answered. So I hope that I am that for you. Aaron Merg is here. Good morning, Aaron. He says, good morning from Oceanside, San Diego. Oh my God. That sounds amazing. Aaron says, hey, Valcat, I grew up in Temecula. Lots of Californians here. Andy B says, or are just integrated into equalization. Also tried to connect with you on LinkedIn and it's still pending. Tried to delete or reverse it, but cannot. I'll have to double check. Again, I have, with all the platforms and social media that I have, I can't keep up on all of them every day. It's difficult. So please be patient with me. I do get into my social medias every once in a while and get in there to comment and respond, but I can't be everywhere all at once. So please be patient with me. I'll go and check my LinkedIn. Thank you, Andy. Louie, thank you again for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Coffee cheers to success in life. I really appreciate that. I really do love my coffee. I'm a coffee fanatic. Thank you so much, Louie. I appreciate you. Catherine Beers is here. Good morning from Apple Valley, California. Awesome. My Californians. Bayou Voiceovers LLC is here. Good morning. Good morning. Sally says, if I still don't have my equipment, is there a way to at least start building my profile but keep it dormant until I am ready? You can, however, most of the profiles on most of the platforms that are immediately coming to mind do require that you post audio samples or demos along with your profile. So you might want to wait until you have all your equipment. You could probably start on most of these platforms, start adding the information like bios and the about and filling out all of the billing questions and things of that nature, but you might not be able to completely publish until you have audio samples. So yeah, you could probably start filling stuff out, but they won't be public until you have audio demos more often than not. So I guess, yeah, I guess you could do that. There is a lot to those though. So getting started now is probably not a bad idea. Kirsten or Jersten, I'm so sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Is the editing process the same for an audition and an actual job? Or do you do something different for an actual job versus an audition? The only thing that comes to mind that's going to be different for the audition versus the actual job is that the audition is sometimes slated, meaning that at the beginning of the audition, if you have multiple takes that you're offering the client, you could start it out with take one, take one of multiple, or take one of 3 takes, take one of 2 takes, or even just say hi to the client listing the job. If the client's name is Steve, you could say, hi, Steve, this is take 1 of 3, right? Just add a little bit of a personal touch. But the finished job is not going to have slating in it. But everything else is going to be essentially the same, unless the client adds something later, like if they wanted to add a sound effect or some music or a pause, or you know what I mean? They'll tell you exactly what it is they need, but the file formatting will be essentially the same, again, unless the client requires a different file format for the finished project. But those are just, not much of a change, right? I think the biggest is going to be the slating, if you do slating. I think that made sense. Valcat says, for me, it's all of the above, but the creative outlet does it for me. That is another great point. That is a great point, Valcat. Sally says, I am speaking of Fiverr. Yeah, Fiverr is I'm going back up to your initial comment to make sure that I am with you. Yes, you can. On Fiverr, you can start your profile, but you won't be able to create a gig or publish a gig unless you have an audio sample. So yes, you can start your profile at least, but you won't be able to create a gig until you have that. So yes. Savannah Scruggs. Hello, Savannah. Thank you for joining. Afternoon, Angela. Do you have a travel setup for when you leave town for a bit? Thanks again for all the info you share. Well, thank you for watching. I wouldn't be here if you guys didn't stop by and watch, so I appreciate that. But yes, I do have a travel setup for when I leave town. I have a very large, like, travel purse, basically, and in it goes my laptop, my Zoom recorder, my Zoom Hero H6, I think is what it is. But it's a travel recorder that's got it serves as an interface, as a travel interface, basically. And you can hook it up to your computer to record into it and then transfer the information to your computer, or you can record it on an SD card and then in turn put that into your computer. And along with that, I take my Sennheiser in its case, and then all of that goes into my travel bag. So essentially, it's a large purse that I carry on with me. So I have my laptop, my Zoom recorder, my handy travel interface, and my Sennheiser. And then I also have a sort of like a small folding desk mount, or a small little tripod to hold my microphone. And then once you get to wherever you're going, then you're going to have to make yourself a little pillow fort. Just find the best option that you have where you are to make yourself a quiet recording environment. So, yes, I think every voice actor should have a travel kit, because unless you really just want to turn everything off when you go on vacation, which I totally understand, but being self-employed, you really need to be on top of your clients for them, right? So having a travel kit to take along with you is definitely going to be advantageous. And it goes with me when I leave the house for, more than a day or two. Thank you for that question. It was a great question. Louis says, where could someone go for recording voiceover work on a budget? For recording voiceover work on a budget, you mean in terms of finding work, or literally going into somewhere like renting a studio? I'm not sure what you're asking, Louis. Where could someone go for recording voiceover work on a budget? Do you mean like renting a recording studio, or do you mean a platform that has low fees? Because every platform is going to take a piece for hosting your profile, right? They either take it in a monthly, as in a monthly membership, or they'll take a 20% or more chunk of the final order amount. But I'm not sure exactly what you're asking there. If you could elaborate, maybe I'll be able to better answer your question. Thank you, Louis. Valcat says, yay, Aaron, Temecula has grown a lot, but I love San Diego and live there. How funny we touch bases with Angela. Angela's amazing. Stop. It's Californians, man. We stay together. California. Andy B says, does your son appreciate that you are home and accessible more often than someone who travels offsite to a job? Absolutely. Absolutely. When I was working for someone else, I was in the automotive industry for about 20 years, and holding the positions that I held, I was there quite a bit. I was there from 10 to 12 hours a day, sometimes on weekends doing inventory and things of that nature. So I was gone a lot, and I didn't want to be that mom. I didn't want to be that parent. I didn't want to be that parent that dropped them off super early at school and then, picked them up from grandma's house in the afternoon, just dead tired. I wanted to, and especially with summer breaks, I wanted to be home. I wanted to spend time with him. I wanted to be able to and accessible to help with homework. I wanted to be more present in his life than a part-time mom basically. So yes, he does. He enjoys it quite a bit. We get to go to the movies, in the afternoon and do a lot of things that we weren't able to do in the past. Good question. Voyager is here. Hello. Voyager says it's intimidating to be your own boss too. Absolutely. There is so much to do to make yourself into a business. Yes, with all the hats that you have to wear when you're running your own business, when you're a solopreneur, when you're a sole proprietor, right? You are the sole person in your business. Therefore, you have to not only produce the product, but you have to manage the taxes and the income expenses. You have to manage the marketing. You have to find clients. You have to, lead generation, website, social medias, manage all the platforms. There are a lot of voice actors that I know that have virtual assistants that help with, tons of different aspects of the job. But I'm, I guess, neurotic. And I like to keep the control under my own hand, I guess. I'm not sure of the term, but I like to keep control of everything. Eventually, I'm going to have to just let go and be comfortable with the idea of employing someone else to help me with some of the other things. But I do have someone that helps me with the social media aspect, but that's about it at this point. But running your own business, there is a lot to it, and the more that you can automate is definitely a plus. It is very intimidating. I think it's one of the most terrifying things that I've done. But once I did it, it was one of the most liberating things I've ever done. Bayou Voiceovers LLC says, do I have to record music with any or all demos for Fiverr? I would say do what you feel is right. I have demos that have no music and sound effects, and I have demos that do have music and sound effects. And from personal experience, I think the ones without music and sound effects do better because the client can hear all of the nuances of your recording space, your delivery, your voice, your inflection. They can hear you a little bit better. Personal opinion, of course, because some voice actors swear by their demos that are fully produced, that have the music and the sound effects and all of that stuff. But I find that the demos that I use do better without any of that, just my voice. But it's really up to you. You could have one of each, a couple of each, see what works better for you. Valcat says, okay, gotta run, but I'll catch the replay later. Thank you so much, Valcat, for spending the time that you have with us. I think let's jump over to the poll really quick because I'm really interested to see what other people say. So today's poll again, of course, was what is your why? What is your why for this business, for this venture? What is your why? And so far, let's hop on over here. We have 36 votes. And the options for responses were more time with your family, to be your own boss, lifelong dream of voiceover, or all of the above. 6% of you said more time with family. That is so funny to me. Be your own boss, 17%. Lifelong dream of voiceover, 17%. And then 61% of you said all of the above. Okay, so I think those of you that said the 6% of you that said more time with your family, it actually just dropped to 5%. That's funny. I'm hoping that all of the above was because you didn't select more time with family. I'm hoping that it was because that was just one of the reasons. That's so funny to me. That's awesome. Yeah. I think for me, it was more time with the family, but being my own boss and enjoying the audiobook narration and the voiceover is great because it is a creative outlet too. So all of the above, I think, would be probably the best answer for me as well. So, all right, let's go back up to the comments. Where did we leave off? I think we are here with the Jazzy Jasmine. What a great name. Good morning from San Diego, California. I got some Californians in the house. Andy B says, I heard of software called Descript, which is an audio and video editor. Have you heard of it? My youngest son built his own PC. That's cool. You can have him help you. You buy the parts, make sure they are compatible, and plug and play. That's awesome. I wish I had someone in my house that was that handy with computers. Descript. I've heard it mentioned before. I think it might have been you who mentioned it somewhere, but I have not. But that doesn't mean that it's good or bad. I'm gonna have to make myself a note, otherwise I will forget to look. So Descript. Okay, I'm gonna go and check it out. So far, have you used it? What is your experience with it? Share with a class, Andy. Jolini 23 says, "Hi, Angela from Californians, California. I finally made it to your first live stream. Yay! I wanted to ask about mic technique to help with sibilance." Oh, sibilance. I have an LCT 440 Pure. Thanks in advance. That's awesome. I just did a review on that Lewitt versus the Sennheiser 416 last week. That's awesome. Mic technique with sibilance. Sibilance, I find sibilance, of course, if you don't know what sibilance is, that is the S, right? It's that sound, the sibilance. And it can be very bright and hard on the ear. I think for me, the best, excuse me, the best way to, I don't know for every single mic, but I think if your mic is slightly off axis, that will help with plosives and sibilance. However, the brightness of sibilance, I actually had to teach myself to speak less sibilant by holding my teeth a little bit further apart than I would normally speak to help reduce some of that sibilance. And then there's also, namely with Adobe Audition, and I think some other DAWs have, excuse me, the frog came back. In the parametric equalizer on Adobe Audition, there is a way to hunt and find and reduce sibilance with the parametric equalizer. And I believe there are some great videos on YouTube to do just that. I think I want to say Tim Tippett's, the VO Tech guru, has a video on that, but I could be wrong. I know Anthony Pica does on a VO's journey. I think he has a video on reducing sibilance that way. But there are some plugins also that are designed to help reduce sibilance. But so there's a few ways to go about it depending on your situation and how bright your sibilance is. But sibilance, just like mouth noise, just like plosives, are just one of the things that we need to be cognizant of as a voice actor. So our audio quality is the best that it can be. But how do you like the Lewitt? I want to hear some more people. If you have a Lewitt 440 Pure, let me know what you think about it. I want to hear your take on it. I had just reviewed the mic against my Sennheiser last week, and I want to hear what other people have to say. The Mad Barbecuer. I love that. This is Brian. One famous VO channel says he got his start on an MXL 770, so I bought one. I see you use a shotgun mic, to which another popular YouTuber says to avoid as they lack a large diaphragm. It's really hard to say what would be better. I think my personal experience, I chose the shotgun mic because of my space, because I have a naturally noisy space. And I also have a playground that's literally about 15, 20 feet away from my studio that's outside. I live in it like a community, right? And there's a playground out there. And I have the computer behind me outside the door, but mics still pick up the noise. So I chose the shotgun mic because of its focused pickup pattern, right? It picks up exactly what's in front of it. Not so much over here, not so much back here, just right here. So that way my voice is being picked up loud and clear, not so much what's going on around me. So I think for you, and I've never heard of anybody saying that a shotgun mic is to be avoided. I know a lot of voice actors that use a shotgun mic, namely the Sennheiser 416, a lot of them. Come to think of it. But I think it really just depends on your space and your voice and your preference. The mics have come a long, long way in just the last few years. There's a lot of great mics out there and at all different price points. So I think what I'm going to tell you, Mad Barbecuer, is that take in all the information that you pick up from all these different sources and make your own decision. Because, and who's to say that you won't upgrade it anyway? This is my third mic. So, and if you don't like it, you can always either return it or sell it, right? Or just keep it as a standby. It's always good to have a standby equipment, because you never know when something's just going to go pfft and you need a backup, right? So it's hard to say what to start with, but there are a lot of mics out there that are great, large diaphragm or small diaphragm. If you want to, and we've been talking about this a lot today, but check out the video I just did last week regarding the Lewitt 440 against the Sennheiser 416. And the Lewitt is a large diaphragm mic, and this is, of course, a shotgun mic. So you can actually hear the difference between the two microphones. But make your own decision on what you want to use. If you can get into a instrument store like a Guitar Center or a place like that where you can test out mics, that would be ideal. But I know with, the world is, I think, on the verge of another lockdown, that might not be possible. So you might want to get in touch with maybe sweetwater.com and let them know what you're dealing with. And they might be able to recommend a microphone based on your needs. And then most often than not, if they'll take it right back if it doesn't work out for you. So you're not stuck with a mic that doesn't work for you, and most often. Great question, though. Andy B says, even Jack Nicholson is on social media for some reason, and it's pretty mainstream now. Yeah, everybody's on social media. We all are. KJ, thank you. Thank you for that. KJ. Okay, I'll call you KJ. Briscoe VO says, hi, Angela from DC. I had my first Source Connect session yesterday. Awesome. Pretty awesome. Thanks for all of your advice over the last year. You have been a great resource. I appreciate that. How did it go? Oh my gosh. I've met with clients and I haven't had like an official live direction yet. Like I've met with clients beforehand, they kind of like, this is what I want, but nothing like live, recorded live. And I think that's my own fault because I don't offer it and I don't go for jobs that require it. Probably to my own detriment, but I am so much of an introvert that it's so hard for me to do that. It's almost terrifying, but which I think is just silly because I do these lives. I know there are currently 38 people watching me and I'm not freaking out, right? I record all the videos. I have classes. I have Zoom groups. I have all of these opportunities where I'm meeting with people just like this over the camera, right? So why should it be any different? I don't know what's wrong with me. But tell me about your situation. How did it go? Did everything go well? Any hiccups? Let us know. Evil Leprechaun says, do you read through parentheses and quotes like normal, or do you try to emphasize it? It keeps sounding awkward when I try it because you can't actually see it. Yes, if there are parentheses or quotes, you definitely want to give them a different emphasis. Because, for example, I just read one the other day, or yesterday rather, that was defining a term. I forget what the script was, but you definitely want to give it a little bit of a pause and then just, I'm trying to think of an example. But give it a little bit of a pause, maybe a more of an intentional read, and then another slight pause, and then go back into the reading. But that's what those are for. It's basically like a defining, purpose for those to be there. So you definitely want to give it a little bit more of an emphasis. Maybe more of a, not a deadpan, but more of a straightforward, natural narrator tone. I hope that answers your question. I'm trying to keep myself from going off on tangents. Kim says, good morning from Florida. Good morning, Kim. Excited to make a live this week. Hello, Angela and everyone. Thank you for joining, Kim. I appreciate everybody being here. Aaron says at Valcat, yes, small world. Angela's probably the most authentic, nicest lady in this industry. Very cool that she invests into the community. You guys, stop it. Make me blush. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to just be me. We're all people just trying to do the same thing, not trying to be anything that I'm not, you know? I think we need more of that. Goldie's Adventures After 50. Greetings from hot Oregon. Is it hot in Oregon? Well, I guess it's hot everywhere, isn't it? Set up a treated space using Audacity and Rode. Is that a Rode USB mic? Working on demos for ACX. That's great. Congratulations. VoiceOver Van Deen says, good afternoon. Sitting with feet up and a cup of tea in a cooler UK this week. That's great. It got really hot for the entire planet for a while there. It was nuts. I'm glad that it's cooling down over there. And you brought the frog with you. No frogs allowed. This is a frog-free zone. VoiceOver Van Deen. Voyager says, I think you mentioned in the past that you had a Facebook group. What is it called? I do, actually. Oh, this is a great opportunity for me to try a new little overlay that I made. Check this out. Boop. Oh, I have to get rid of your comment. Oh my gosh. There it is. Nope. Why is it doing that? Hold on. Newbie. Okay. That little banner down at the bottom is all of my social medias. The Facebook one is the VO workshop. That is my Facebook group. I had just signed up with Twitch like yesterday. But I have the ability through StreamYard here to stream simultaneously, not just to YouTube, but to other places too. So I'm considering in the future live streaming in a few different places, but I haven't quite decided what I wanted to do. But these are the social medias all in one place for you. So I hope that helps. But it's called the Facebook, the VO workshop. What is wrong with me today? All right, so let me get rid of this thing so it's not blocking my comments. And then let's go. Louie, did you just send another one? Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Oh my gosh. Okay, Louis says, I was looking into recording voiceovers at local studios. Oh, okay, but I was wondering how to go about that on a budget. Craigslist, maybe. I have to say, Louis, it might be more advantageous for you to just make your own home studio. I think with the cost of rentals, and then considering the cost of if it's an audiobook and you have to go back multiple times or go back for pickups, go back for multiple reasons, it might be better to invest that money into just creating your own recording space within your own home. If you travel a lot, that might not be ideal. However, you can still make a travel rig. Like I mentioned earlier, you can have travel pieces that you can take with you and unpack and use just about anywhere you go. But you might be better suited. It might be a better option for you to just invest that money in making your own recording space. I think it would actually save you money in the long run, to be honest. It's a great question, though. Oh my goodness, there are so many comments. Hold on. I lost my place. Give me a moment, guys. Let me find where I left off. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is where I left off. Kathy says, I've been working on my branding, going off of my last name. Pierce. Demo back anytime now. Like you say, just do it. Atta girl. Love that. If you're in my Facebook group, please post your demo. I want to hear it. And I also encourage everyone in my group to do that. There are close to now about 1,000 other voiceover actors in my Facebook group. I encourage you, if you're just starting, to share your demo with us. We want to hear it. If you're looking for feedback, because again, we hear the same thing over and over and over, our own voices, our own spaces, our own approach and placement and all of that stuff. So we grow accustomed to hearing ourselves. So having other people listen to our demos, they'll be able to give us advice. And maybe they hear something that we don't. Maybe there's a low hum. Maybe your mouth noise is very, very noticeable. Whatever it is, post your demos in my Facebook group. I encourage you to do so. And if you're in my Facebook group, please be constructive and kind and polite. Remember, we all start from the same place. Everyone there is looking to grow together. Thank you. But Kathy, great job. Proud of you. Robert W. says, how long is a typical recording session for you? I'm usually fading out after 4 or 5 hours when working on a novel. Yeah, it's a marathon. Audiobooks are a marathon. They really are. For me, I'm in the studio for at least 10 hours every day. I think at the very least an hour or two. When I'm in here to record, I'm in here for about 10 hours. And I'd say half of that is recording voiceovers. So yeah, 4 or 5 hours-ish. But taking a lot of breaks is going to be essential, not only for your body, but also for your mental state. You know, give yourself a time limit. Say, I'm going to either record 2 chapters or I'm going to record for an hour and then I'm going to take a break. Put a timer on your phone, put a little egg timer in your studio, whatever it is that you need to do. But take a break, work those into your schedule because it's essential for your mental clarity and your body. Get a little exercise, go for a walk during your break, go make yourself a nice cup of tea, go walk the dog, pet the cat, whatever it is that you want to do. But take a break. It's good for you to do that. It's not good for anyone to sit, in a chair for hours on end. But yeah, 4 or 5 hours of recording and then I'm pretty much shot. I'm sure, I don't know if any of you have heard of this stuff, but I've mentioned this stuff before, but I happen to have it on my table here because I haven't taken it today. But this fire cider stuff is pretty awesome. It's apple cider vinegar with peppers, like habanero peppers. I think they're habanero, and a little bit of honey. And what this does for me is it kind of clears this out. It sort of preps it. It's hot. It's hard. I'm going to warn you now. I'm going to warn you. This stuff is rough, but a little shot glass of it, I think helps me sort of clear everything out and refresh it. Maybe burn it out. I'm not sure what it is, but I like it. I like it. And it definitely has helped. So this is actually my second bottle of this stuff now. KJ says, I remembered, when a client wants a raw file, does that mean I don't get rid of breaths, clicks, and sibilants? Yes. If they want a raw file, for me, I take out my retakes. If it's a stupid mistake or I mispronounced something or I, coughed in the middle of it, I'll get rid of those mistakes. But if there are multiple takes and they're good, I would leave those in. But yes, that means don't process it in any way, shape, or form. Don't add any noise reduction. Don't add any mouth click reduction. Don't do anything to it other than maybe remove the horrible mistakes, right? Because they'll have an audio engineer on their end that's going to make it fit what they need. So you're right. Yeah, it means don't do anything to it. Leave. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to send something raw like that to a client, but that's what they're asking for. And they've probably heard a whole lot worse than what they're hearing on your file. Kim says, I recently watched the audiobook audition live session you did with Anthony and Susan. That was so fun and helpful. Do you have anything like that planned for the near future? Yes, we actually have another one coming up on, I believe, is the 6th. The 6th of August? Yep, the 6th of August at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So what is that? 3 p.m. EST? No, 4 p.m. EST. 2 p.m. EST. I didn't think there would be any math involved in today's session, but yes, August 6th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to do another one of those, I think through Anthony's Facebook page again or his group again. I'm not entirely sure where that's going to be, but I'm sure Anthony will post an update somewhere in the near future. But yeah, we have another one planned. Thank you for joining and thanks for the comment. Ebony Thief says, first time viewing alive. Do you have any favorite warm-up exercises? I don't know if I'd call them favorite, but I think the ones that I do every day are just a general, like a trill with your lips, your tongue, stretching out your mouth, doing all of these weird exercises where you're just stretching out your mouth in several different directions, stretching out your tongue. Tongue twisters are great to sort of get into the habit, but I also find that the first script of the day usually is used as a warm up as well. My first take of the day is not used. I'm reading a script and then I'm reading through it a few times, faster, 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 and then I do the final performance. So I usually use what I'm doing first in the day as part of my warm up routine just to give me something to read. And that also helps me to kind of get my brain awake enough, to notice sight words and then to warm up my vocal cords in the process. So yeah, but again, do whatever works best for you, but there are a lot of different ways to do that. Tongue twisters typically and mouth exercises and trills are what I generally hear people do. Kathy says, I hear you. So hard to relinquish the control and delegate. Yes, it is. It is. Because, there's tons of people available to you online that are willing to help and have probably the knowledge and skills to help. But going through the process of finding the right person, I think is what I'm most intimidated by. Because you don't know if you're going to if the first person you hire is going to be fabulous and work out for you, or if you're going to have to go through several people to find someone who works well with you and does things the way that you want them to. So that part, I think, is the most not intimidating, but maybe taxing. I don't know. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to delegate. Briscoe VO says, at Mad Barbecuer, I have used both types of mics, but you should really try out a variety of them to see what works best with your particular voice. I love my Sennheiser MKE 600, and that is a shotgun. A lot of voice actors, I know a lot. I'd say probably a good half of the ones that I know use a shotgun mic, not necessarily the Sennheiser, although a good portion of them do. There's also the Synco D2, I believe. It's on my website under VO Gear as a recommended microphone. But I've never personally tested it, but from what I understand, the Synco D2 is almost a clone of the 416 and at a fraction of the price. Because the Sennheiser is a $1,000 microphone, but the Synco D2 is like under 300, I believe. It's a fraction of the cost, but it sounds similar from what I understand. Don't rule out the shotgun mics. They are great for voiceover. Bayou Voiceovers LLC says, thank you. I've written my own scripts and I'll be posting them on Fiverr this weekend and on my channel. Have a great day, my amazing and supportive friend. Thank you. I love that everybody joins. And I've said it before, this is a community. I consider everyone in the industry my family because we are all so very supportive and helpful and warm and welcoming and eager to share and to help and to assist. I love this community. And for all of you just coming into this industry, not everybody is like that. You might find some Facebook groups where you might get some very I don't even know if I want to call it constructive criticism. Some people are a little bit stuck in their ways and are probably not as polite or kind as they should be. But I would say a good 95% of this industry is just as I'm reflecting to you here, warm, welcoming, supportive. So, and if you're new, welcome. Welcome to the family. After Dark says, I use Cakewalk BandLab DAW, free as well. Interesting. I've never heard that one. Cakewalk BandLab. Hold, please. I got to write that down. Cakewalk BandLab. And it's free, just like Audacity. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. We'll have to check that out. Kathy says, for me, it's the T's. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah. I think you can also, you might be able to adjust those with a little bit of, I mean, the de-esser might work a little bit, but I think most often what I find is turns into more of a plosive, because with that you have the puff of air that comes out just like a B or a P, right? It's the plosives that are also equally as difficult as the sibilance is. And for that respect, that's another reason I recommend that your mic be off axis. So when you're speaking, the P's and the B's and the T's, all that puffs of air goes past the mic and not into it. And that might help reduce the sound of the plosives for you. Jojo 23 says, thank you so much. I will check out the parametric equalizer. Yeah, I want to say there's a few videos. I mean, what can you not find on YouTube, right? If you put in parametric equalizer and then your DAW, if you're using Adobe Audition, put in Adobe Audition, and it should pull up a number of videos on how to manipulate the parametric equalizer to find and reduce any type of frequency that's in there. And we use this most often for finding and reducing sibilance. Andy B says you have to discipline yourself as your own boss. You do. And I think having your own schedule, making a schedule for yourself is definitely going to help. Because most of us, especially those that are in my generation, Generation X, that are in their 40s, we're accustomed to, I'd say maybe not all, but most of us are accustomed to having a set schedule at work, right? So we're kind of programmed to be up at a certain time, get to work, have lunch, get work done, to go home for the end of the day. You can make your own schedule for yourself at home, being your own boss. I have an agenda book that I use every single day, and I block out time for myself. So if something comes up with a client and they say, hey, on Friday, can you have this for me? And I look at my schedule, I go, okay, well, it's filled with all of this other stuff. I'm either shooting a video, I'm in a class, I'm holding a group, I'm completing this podcast, whatever it is. I have everything blocked out on my agenda book so I can see at a glance if I can fit this in or not, right? 2 chapters to narrate, 3 chapters to edit, whatever it is, everything is blocked out. So I have to make myself a schedule that way so I don't A, forget anything, and B, I can plan my day a little bit better and move stuff around if I need to. If I have a block of time set aside for a movie with my son, I can do that too. So discipline and actually writing down a schedule for yourself is definitely going to help. Jojo 23 says, I love my Lewitt. Good to hear. I did a lot of research before I got it. I did see your review and enjoyed it. I got it because I want to record vocal singing and possibly instruments too. Oh, that's awesome. How does it work for instruments and singing? I would assume it sounds good. It's a very sensitive mic. Kathy says, Sweetwater rocks. Great customer service. They have stellar customer service. Love Sweetwater. Shout out to Sweetwater. Purple Table Tarot says, hi from Mill Creek, Washington. My name is Robin. I bought a snowball mic on Amazon for $30 and a pop filter. Do you think this is a decent one just to start? Yes, to get started. I started on a Blue Yeti, which is another microphone that Blue makes. And that is the one that you typically see. It looks like a capsule. It's really big. It's like this big, and it sits on your desk. But I started with that. But what's most important in the very beginning, I think, maybe more than your mic, is your recording space. Because no matter what kind of mic you have, if you have a $30 mic or if you have a $3,600 mic, your space is going to be picked up in that mic along with your voice. So treating your space is much more important than which microphone you choose. To control the reverb, the boxiness, ambient noise, treating your space is more important than your microphone, I think. Briscoe VO says, it went great and it was a union job. No issues with the Source Connect at all. That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations. I'm glad it went well. Purple Table Tarot says, and do you have any vids on how to work the condenser stuff on Adobe Audition? Do you ever listen to samples and provide feedback? I made 3 on Sunday. Well, that's great. Good job. That's a great way to spend a Sunday, is making some demos and samples. The condenser stuff. You mean like compression, perhaps? I think I do. I have a few videos about recording auditions for ACX or even recording voiceover on Adobe Audition. I think if you go to my channel and search Adobe Audition or audiobooks, you'll find a handful of videos on how I process my files, and I do touch on compression, if that is what you're referring to. Do I ever listen to samples and provide feedback? I do, mainly when I have like a mentorship going on. I have some mentorship packages on my website where I meet with somebody once a week for either 4 weeks or 12 weeks, and we go over just about everything. And within that, I'll usually listen to their samples and provide feedback. Or if you're in my Facebook group, you're welcome to do that with, I think we're pretty close to 1,000 people in the Facebook group now. So there's 1,000 other voice actors in there that can give you feedback on your samples as well. So not just my opinion, but everybody else's as well. So different ears may pick up different things. So it's always a great thing to do, is to ask a peer group about their opinions on your demos and stuff. Rebecca Stink says, hi, Angela. Love these Q&As and happy I made it to another one. How do you feel about offering free sample reads for Fiverr clients, especially as a new seller? Should I be charging for those? I offer sample reads for clients, but what you have to do is word it the appropriate way. If someone asks me on Fiverr, if someone contacts me and says, I have this really long script, but I want to hear a portion of it to see if your voice is a fit, or if they have clients themselves that need to approve the sound of your voice reading the script, then what I do is I say, absolutely, I would love to do that. I will provide you a short complimentary sample. And then that short complimentary sample, depending on what they send me, is going to be a sentence or 2, maybe 3, depending on how much of the script is there. But I never read the entire script for free. You never want to do that in any situation, because you're giving them the order for free, basically. So if they send you a script and they say, hey, can I hear a portion, or can I hear this as to see if it works? Don't read the entire thing. Always read a few sentences and make sure that you tell the client, give them that expectation up front. I will be happy to provide you a short complimentary sample. If they want anything more than what you sent, more than 100 words or so, then they'll have to place an order. And a lot of people do. A lot of clients will just do that instead of reaching out to you and asking to hear a free sample. They will just, because they know they're in the same sort of industry. They know how the game is played, right? They know that it's appropriate to pay someone for their time and effort. So sometimes they'll just place an order for a sample. But if you're looking for a free complimentary sample, I would just give them a few sentences. Andy B says, okay, class, no, have not used Descript yet. You have not used Descript yet. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, I just wrote that down somewhere, but all right, I flipped the page. That's right. Okay, so Descript. All right, so I'm going to check that out too and see if it's awesome. But it sounds like it's going to be useful, so we'll definitely check it out. Jojo 23 says, there isn't anything wrong with you. I just had a live session from someone who found me on LinkedIn, and I was so scared, also an introvert, did a lot of rehearsing the lines, and it was really fun. Okay. I know I have to do it. I know I just have to get over myself and just do it. We'll see. But thank you for the encouragement. I'm glad it went well for you. I'll have to just do it. Take my own advice and just do it, right? T.I. Panubi says, hello from Backwoods, Pennsylvania. Well, hello. Welcome. Rebecca Stink says, also fully agree with everyone's nice comment. You are so appreciated and good karma coming your way. Stop it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Making me self-conscious. Stop it. Purple Table Tarot says, also the clicking thing is so key. Oh, my little dog clicker, this clicking thing. Yeah, I like my little dog clicker. Although if you have dogs in the house that have been trained with a dog clicker, that might not be a good option for you. You might want to snap your fingers, clap your hands, cluck your tongue, whatever it is that will make a sharp spike. Or you can just learn punch and roll, right? Which is the other type of recording where if you make a mistake, you actually stop the recording, go back and record over your mistake instead of just marking it and moving on. So there's, the two different ways for recording. Voyager says, thank you. Just joined the Facebook group. Great. Wonderful. Catherine Beer says, oh, also side note with my Facebook group, I also have peer mentorship available there. If someone in the group wants to also pay it forward, and this is for anybody listening, if you're in my group, if you have expertise or knowledge or something to share with someone else just getting started, I encourage you to sign up as a mentor. And then if you want to be mentored, you can also look at the list of mentors that are available on my group and then reach out to one, send a chat message to one of them and see if they're available to mentor you. But I offer that in my Facebook group as well. Side note. Whoops. Kathy says, how difficult is it to get into medical narration? My day job is pharmacy tech for a specialty pharmacy. I wouldn't say it's really super difficult. I think it's more of who do you reach out to find this type of work. And I get a lot of this type of work, believe it or not, from Fiverr and Upwork a few times as well. But I'm sure that these are also, I've seen them also available on voices.com, Voice123, Bidalgo, all of the pay-to-play sites. But you can also make connections with being in your field anyway. You might know some of the lingo or jargon that is used, or maybe even who to contact in some of the companies that specialize in making, informative videos about medical devices or procedures, or you know what I mean? So reaching out to those companies directly would also be something that I would do and see if they have space on their rosters. Video production companies, e-learning companies, that sort of thing. But I wouldn't say difficult. I'd say it's just about the same as finding work, any other voiceover work. Just go out and look for it and who to make connections with. Kathy says, yay, I'm already in the Facebook group. Great to have you. Briscoe says, what was the model of the Lewitt you reviewed? It was the, make sure that I don't say it wrong. It was the LCT 440 Pure. It was this one. That's the mic I reviewed. And I thought it sounded amazing. It was very, very sensitive. It's a lot more sensitive than the Sennheiser, although I didn't change any of the settings. I left everything the way that it was set to my Sennheiser, so it did sound a little bit bright. I just need to play with the EQ and stuff a little bit to accommodate the sensitivity of the Lewitt. JJJ says, hi there. Getting ready to dive into VO for fun, starting small, seeing how it plays out, and build experience in clients. Do you have any articulation or speech exercises you perform before reads? I think that it goes along with vocal warm-ups, maybe some tongue twisters, reading a practice script or something that you have on hand over and over and over, a section of an audiobook or something on your Kindle, whatever it is that you have handy, just to read through it and try to read through it fast, because recognizing sight words is definitely going to help. You sound natural, so you don't sound like you're reading. Getting through at a normal, natural pace of narration is going to be key for most of what we do. But that's essentially all I do is I warm up my face, warm up my mouth, warm up my body, and read through a practice script, whatever I have on hand, several times, and try to read it fast, just to kind of help warm things up in there too. and lots of water and hot tea and coffee. Rebecca Sting says, do you think it's possible to do VO stuff if we move overseas, for example, to Japan? I don't know how this will affect tax W-2 stuff or even agent stuff. So I was wondering what your thoughts are. That's a great question. I would think it is possible to do VO stuff. I know there are voiceover artists all over the world. I think as far as taxes or whatever that country needs would be determined where you go. So if you were going to Japan, I would definitely reach out to someone who can help you set all of that up in that respect. I have never had a business outside of this country, so I don't know for certain, but I would definitely imagine that there are people that can help you get set up appropriately for income and expenses and all of that stuff that goes with it. But even agents, I'm sure there are agents that can help you. Japanese, centered in Japan agents that are there. I'm sure there are global agents that are available. That's a great question, one that I'm really going to have to think about because I too would like to retire in a different country. And I say retire, but I mean move at some point, but we'll see. If anybody watching knows the answer to this question for certain, then please post it. Share your experiences. I would appreciate it. It's a great question. Kathy says, I will post my demo just as quickly as I get it. Was due to me yesterday on pins and needles waiting for it. Oh my gosh. But you're freaking out, huh? Excited. Andy B says, people are offering voiceovers on Etsy and Craigslist. Yes, they are. I actually did. One of my first voiceover jobs was from Craigslist. Although Craigslist can be hit or miss. They're also offering them on Pinterest. Goldie's Adventures After 50. Yes, hot alert, triple digits till Saturday, or Oregon and Washington. Yes, Road Mike. Thank you for your down to earth. You can do it attitude. You encouraged me for home studio, which was dismissed in past years. Oh, so triple digits in Oregon and Washington. That's crazy. Wow. Man, it's 85 degrees here in Phoenix right now, but we've had just a rash of storms come through. So thankfully it's a little bit cooler, but that's just too dang hot for Oregon, in my opinion, or Washington. But you're welcome. I'm glad that you found some information, something interesting, something helpful in my videos, and I appreciate you watching. But I'm glad that you decided to make it work and to just do it. Louie says, can we have an affiliate link to your apple cider tonic? It's easy to sign up for Amazon's affiliate program, if I may suggest. Go ahead and give it a go. I do have on my my website, I have a VO gear page that's got a lot of recommended gear on it, and those are all affiliate links. Yes, I'm very familiar with Amazon's affiliate program. I have not added the fire cider to it because I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but we'll see. But thank you for that, Louie. You're the best. John is here. Hi, John. Good morning, Angela. I'm late, but wanted to stop by and say hey and check out the poll question. Good one. All of the above for me. Well, good. Glad you can make it for a few minutes. Thank you, John. Andy B says, how do you learn to read ahead to make it all sound fluid? Practice. Practice, practice, practice. We actually do that. We did that exercise in my platinum group a few weeks ago, where I had a script on the screen and we would all take turns reading it. And then I would take the script away, or actually Eric, if you're watching, Eric took the script away. And so it was all completely random for myself included. And then you had to try to finish the sentence, just by memory of what was coming up next. And it's interesting how far people got. Some finished the sentence, some didn't. But it's just practice, practice, practice. Andy B said next word. About reading ahead. Yeah, practice, practice, practice. After Dark says, yes, for musicians, Cakewalk Band Lab. That is great for vocal audio recording. That's cool. Okay, that's one I haven't heard of yet. I'll definitely have to check that one out. Thank you for that. Kathy says, I have Blue Yeti X with the Chaotica Fat Boy eyeball mic. Oh my God. That is a mouthful. Okay, Blue Yeti X with Chaotica Fat Boy eyeball mic. All right, so you have that's just fun to say. So you have the big Chaotica eyeball around the mic too. That's sort of like an ISO shield, right? But still treating your space is still going to be better for you than an isolation shield or a Chaotica eyeball because they only protect the mic from so much or reduce the noise coming in from the mic so much, mainly from what's around it. But for example, if I used any of that with my Sennheiser, it wouldn't matter. It would all be a moot addition because my mic only picks up what's in front of it. But what's bouncing around this room from, if I speak, it's going to bounce here, there, here, and then into the mic. And that's where reverb comes from. So if there's nothing in front of your mic or if your room isn't treated, then you're still probably going to pick up all the sounds in your room. So the isolation shields and the Chaotica eyeball is great in theory, but especially if you have a shotgun mic. But if you have a mic that's got a wider pickup pattern, that would help. But nothing is going to be better for your audio recordings than treating your space. Personal experience, trust me. Oh, I skipped one. Sorry, JJJ. Do you ever record to a click track? Do you ever record to a click track to practice different speech cadence? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Record to a click track to practice different speech cadence. I have to be honest, JJJ, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I practice different speech cadence anyway, especially if we're doing characters for books, different characters. I try to I try to give each one of them a different personality, pace, tone, cadence, personality, attitude. And with that, I do different speech cadence, but I'm not sure what you mean about a click track. If you could elaborate on that, I would be happy to answer. Where are we at on time? Oh, we've been on for over an hour already. Goodness gracious. All right, I'm going to see if I can get through these last few comments here. Kathy says, oops, where'd it go? Previously self-employed, sometimes others in the household don't respect the fact that you're working. That's how I ended up in a day job, miss the freedom. Yeah, I totally get it. Again, I think for me, that also comes down to scheduling. If everyone around you knows that you're working from point A to point B and maybe have some time over here in time frame C and D, maybe you'll have some time to do something with them, speak with them, whatever. Luckily for me, everyone in my household knows that from this point to this point I'm working, and then I'm taking a break, and then from this point to this point I'm working, and then taking a break. I have a pretty much uniform schedule. So luckily for me that it's not really a factor, but I get what you're saying because I still have people that call me, all hours of the day for just, for conversations, but I have to call them back later and say, hey, I'm working, trying to pay the bills. Yeah. Kathy says, Jojolini 23, where in California are you? And then Kathy says, have had thoughts of doing jingles as well. Jingles, radio imaging, DJ drops. Those are all things that you can definitely do as a voice actor. Purple Table Tarot says, yes, compression. Yep, I've got a handful of videos on compression. And then Eric is here. Hello, Eric. Hello. Purple Table Tarot says, yes, about the compression, I'm assuming, yes. All voice, no echo says, did VO in the 1980s, now retired. I'm returning to it. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm sure there's a lot that you can share with us from how things went in the in the 80s. I'm sure it was very different. With the way the technology changes, it could be night and day in just a matter of a few years. So, but I'm a child of the 80s, so I'd like to hear about it. Briscoe VO says, hi, Eric. Kathy says, definition of a sight word. Words that are easily recognizable, that you don't have to stop and think about what the word is, like to, the, cat, dark, words that are the smallest fraction of a glance, and you know what the word is and how to pronounce it, right? Reading books yourself will definitely help with sight words, or building up your library of sight words in your head. Robert says, I just applied for your Facebook group. I have 30 plus years as a public speaker. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I go into the member requests at least once a week. At least once a week. So if I don't get to it today, I'll try to let you in. I'll try to check back tomorrow. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to write it down so I don't forget. I approved a bunch of people yesterday, but I'll hop in there again today now that we're talking about it, and approve everyone in there now. But thank you for doing that. The Jazzy Jasmine says, you read my mind. I'm a newbie and was wondering about finding a mentor. Is there a charge for this through your Facebook group? No, there isn't. My Facebook group is, if you don't know this about me by now, I'm going to tell you, I am not out for your money. I am here to help. Everything that I offer, or everything that I have done, has been requested or asked for. So if you go to my website and you see that I have one-on-one sessions, I have mentorship programs, I have courses, these are all things that I have been asked for. So I'm not doing this to make money, but I do have my own time to consider, right? I have knowledge to share, but see, I'm going off on tangents again. But no, the Facebook group is completely free. I wanted it to be a place where everybody of all experience levels can come and share and glean maybe more information. And the mentorship program is just a peer mentorship program. So anybody within the group can mentor, and anybody within the group can be a mentee. So I wanted everybody to kind of share and pay it forward and grow together, basically. No charge at all. You just have to be accepted. And I do that myself personally at least once a week. Purple Table Tarot says, yep, it got to 114 degrees in Seattle last August. No. Oh my gosh. All of those ice caps are going to melt, and we're going to find prehistoric creatures in there. I'm a nerd. That's okay. It's all right. JJJ said, do you have a cap on how many edits or variations for customers that do not seem to have a clear direction on what they are wanting? A cap? No. I think I use my own interpretation of the script, and then, using what the client is saying, even if it's contradictory, I tried to take what they're telling me and what my own interpretation of the script is. And if the script could go 2 different ways that I think are appropriate, or even 3 different ways, depending on the size of the script, if it's less than 100 words, I might give them 2 or 3 takes, depending on how I think it could be, delivered. But if it's a really long script, then I will just give them a 1 take. I mean, meaning like thousands of words. I will give them just the 1 take based on, and I do ask a lot of questions. I ask the clients a lot of questions, sometimes, again, to my own detriment, but I want to be on the same page, right? I want to have a clear understanding, because I don't want to have to do it 2 or 3 more times. So I'll ask questions or clarification or examples. If the client has a certain idea of what they want in their head, I will ask them, do you have an example of this? Is there something that you saw on YouTube or, wherever, Vimeo, that you can send me as an example of how you want it to sound? That is another way that you could approach that too. But sometimes I will give them multiple takes depending on the script size. Louis says, how many of us here can see the gratitude button on laptop? The gratitude button? Is there a gratitude button? There should be a gratitude button. I would give it all the time. Gratitude. Gratitude button on laptop. Is that a YouTube thing? I think it's a YouTube thing, right? Is it called, I think it's called thanks or gratitude, or are you talking about just making a gratitude button? I only see the gratitude button on mobile. I'm not sure, but you can just say, hey, thanks. Not that I like or need, but oh my God, it makes me so self-conscious. Purple Table Tarot says a click track is a metronome. Oh, I see what you mean. No, I've never done that. I have never done that. Kathy says click tracks are for drummers. Yeah, no, I've never done that. That's interesting, though. That's very interesting. I've never even thought of that before. I've seen the metronome on multi-track in Adobe Audition, but I've never really thought of putting it to a voiceover to try to speed up or slow down. That's interesting. Interesting. So you got the gears turning in there. Sally says, thank you for taking my questions. Really enjoy your live chats. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. You guys make this happen. There's 33 people in here right now. And I appreciate every single one of you for taking the time to be here with me and everyone else in the chat and ask questions and support each other. It's one of my favorite days of the week because of this live chat. After Dark says, at Louie, I don't see it on my laptop. Oh, the gratitude button. Purple Table Tarot says, thank you for answering my questions, Angela. I'm so glad I found you and your group. Well, thank you for being here. Again, I appreciate everybody. I know it's not, everyone's busy and got stuff to do. I know some of you are still working, so you're at work and you're just kind of listening to me on the fly. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, one last comment. After Dark says, thanks for your time. You rock. Oh, stop it. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate everybody being here today. And I will put this banner on the screen and I will see you again next Tuesday at 12 p.m. EST. And I appreciate your time again. And I will see everybody next week. Bye.